So all I do is I read the body language and whether the person is in alignment with it, thoughts, words, all the body's in alignment with what you're saying. And when we can get everything aligned, there becomes a new chemical process produced in the body, and a new set of thoughts, a new set of all of a sudden a new reality opens up. And
Mm.
then once the new reality opens up, you'll be able to ask, "What did I do to get here? What's the first thing I did?" And you'll get an answer that quick. You'll remember it instead
Is
of trying
that
to figure out how.
Mark Scherer is a successful life coach and entrepreneur. He has had the pleasure of working with thousands of individuals and leading classes for a wide variety of corporations, such as national grocers, international accounting firms, leadership forums, and major Fortune 500 companies. As a certified business mentor, he specializes in applying his many modalities to help businesses, groups, families, and individuals identify, clarify, align, and implement their highest choices and visions. Mark developed an interest in consciousness at a young age through observing people's language and the results they produced in their life. For 30 plus years, he's studied consciousness, language, spiritual law, and quantum physics from well renowned educators throughout the United States and globally. Although this was observed, he continued to work in other fields while desiring to one day establish a career in consciousness. In 2018, Mark founded Encompass Life. He combined his years of consciousness studies into effective rapid upgrade system. The goal is to empower each client to the greatest shift with ease and efficient use of time. He achieves this through the development of the quantum leap technique, QLT, perhaps the most powerful form of coaching today. I have met Mark a couple of times at this point, and each time I always have some different takeaway, learning, or breakthrough. And I am very excited for today's conversation. Mark, welcome to Prospecting on Purpose.
Thank you. Great to see you again.
Nice to see you too. What I want to get into for this episode, just to orient the audience a little bit, is I want to talk a little bit about your background and your bio. I think has a lot of things we want to pull and learn more of. But I also want to talk about getting into some of your clients' successes, and then I want to talk about some of the how and the how and the why you're focusing on this work and how it's going to impact all of us listening. So if I can just start, can you share a little bit about the evolution of Encompass Life and how you found this work?
Yeah, I mean, I've been interested in consciousness, as I said, since I was a kid. I was raised in a like really religious household. I went to Catholic school, and there was things that um, I would hear in the school, like in the trainings, and we had guidance class, like the religious classes, and I would ask a lot of questions. And in that type of environment, like you couldn't ask questions. And I said, "Well, I
Mhm.
can't ask that question. You can't ask that one either." So you said you just got to believe what we're telling you. And let's see how to say this. I was a little bit of a rebel, a lot. So I could tell that there were some things that didn't sit right with me, that didn't feel true. And so I started exploring outside of what was homing and religious, and started getting into quantum physics, and started getting into some of the mainstream stuff, Bob Proctor and
Mhm.
Napoleon Hill and all those things, and really started talking about the power of thoughts. And I studied with a lot of mainstream stuff that was about thinking positive thoughts, don't think negative thoughts. Most people have that type of training, but for me, that was pretty like excruciatingly painful to try to monitor my thoughts at that level. And I was having some successes. Life was kind of going this up and down roller coaster thing. And about 15 years ago, I got involved with another modality that really took the right and wrong out of it, which to me really resonated because it goes back to some of the basic teachings of a lot of different religions, a lot of different methods about even like Rumi, out
Mhm.
beyond the right wrongness, there's a field of all possibilities. Paraphrasing, but if we can live in that open field, what's really possible. And I started to explore that, and when I did, I started to notice a lot of changes in my own consciousness and in the people I was coaching. I mean, all of a sudden their level of happiness goes up, their level of creativity goes up, their intuition goes up maybe 10, 20, 30, 40x really, really quickly. And in business, I mean, how many times are people like wondering what to do, how to do it? and getting caught in that monkey mindset of how. And, today's world, man, you got to be able to adapt quickly and be able to see where you're going and maybe be the front runner of something brand new, to really, really excel here.
I
So
think,
go
oh,
ahead.
I sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I really appreciated the comment about like the monkey mindset and everyone just almost it's like you're spinning your wheels a lot doing the things you think you should be doing, or you're running around asking all these different people for advice.
Yeah,
And one of the biggest things I've noticed recently and in 2024, one of my 3 words is intuition, because I kept, I would go ask a consultant, I'd pay for a coach, and then they'd tell me something that I would follow, even though it wasn't following my intuition. And now that I've been trusting myself more and following my intuition, I'm already seeing pretty
results.
significant quickly results. So I appreciate you saying that, because I think it's just going to resonate with a lot of people. So continue. So what type of wins have you seen with your clients, or what type of, I guess, breakthroughs
Yeah.
to you personal and with your clients?
Oh yeah. All type of breakthroughs. I've had several clients who had hired other business coaches to maybe take their business to a double, maybe double their income. They were maybe in a 35, $40 million company. They're going to try to grow to maybe 75 or 80 million. And they had hired several business coaches, and no matter what they did, they were still stuck in that same income. And we worked with them for about, I guess we're still working with them, but pretty intensely for about a year. And they went from like 35 million to 350 million really, really quickly.
Wow.
So that's a huge, the struggle to go from 35 to 75. And, but they had, oh, how to say it. I mean, this may sound really weird to people, but a lot of people succeed in business based on anger. And, I'm going to prove to you I can do this. I'm going to prove to my parents I can do this. I'm going to prove to the world I can do this. And all that anger, resentment that drives somebody's success will only get them to a certain level of a certain plateau.
Mm,
And once they hit that glass ceiling, and that's all that they can get with their current level of having a good life. I mean, weird as that sounds.
mhm.
So for people to really excel and go break through that glass ceiling, they got to change something on the inside of themselves. So what we specialize here in being able to find those blockages, identify them very, very quickly, and have the person reverse them into a new set of possibilities for their life.
Okay, I want to talk about that quite a bit, but before I do, I want to ask you, is that usually how clients find you? Is like they've tried other types of, business learnings or other types of mentors, and then they just can't break through
Yeah,
that plateau?
yeah. We have people coming in for two different reasons. One, they're in so much pain with their business, or even sometimes we have business people come in that their business is going pretty well, but their home life is crap.
Mm,
So that's bleeding over into their businesses. They're short with their team members, short with their employees, whatever. So, um, people come to us because the pain of where they are is so great, or because where they're currently have been working, like they've hit a glass ceiling. They like to know what's next, and their coach or consultant they're working with now has tapped out. That's all they can go with that person. So we'd love finding those people. Like, let's go to maybe a 10x growth rate. I mean, that's tremendous.
yeah, I can't even imagine that. And I would be curious, what are the most common, I guess, like obstacles or things that you see? Are there any common threads you see, or is it
Yeah,
everyone's
I
different?
mean, it always goes back to language, how they're
Mm,
languaging themselves. Every word we speak is a prayer coming into manifestation,
mm,
and most people's language is speaking one of limitations. In other words, I'll give you some examples.
mhm,
Um, like they're saying, I don't want to struggle with money. I don't want to have issues with my team. I don't want to, like, they're speaking a whole language of knots. When if somebody's speaking the language of knots, basically what they're doing is they're complaining without even knowing they're complaining.
mhm.
And Stanford had done a study. They said complaining damages neurons in the brain. So in other words, complaining makes us stupid. And
I like that.
you know, and if somebody can be really, really, really bright, but they can still have that level of complaint that's keeping them from a whole nother level of genius. So when we begin to work with somebody to have them change their language, and all of a sudden they're going to start to notice, instead of finding things to say, I don't like this, they're going to start speaking in what they love and what
Hmm.
they really, really choose to have. And when they start to do that, all of a sudden, all the glass, all the things that they've been attracting that is keeping them in that place, all of a sudden they have a whole nother level of attraction around them. And God, I just worked with a lot of people in business. Like we had another person who was retired military, and he worked with the business coach. I guess I met him maybe like in September or October one year, and he'd been working with the business coach to lay out his coming 3 years. And in 3 years, he was going to grow to like a 10x in his business. And I said, that sounds great. I said, I believe we can work with you and do it way, way, way faster. So I started working with him in October. And by, I believe it was February or March, he had hit his 3rd year goal in, what,
Like
6 months.
less than 6 months. Oh my goodness. Okay,
Less than
so
6 months.
I want to talk about the language, but can we dive into a little bit about that example and walk us through, like, what does it look like to work with you? Can you kind of use that retired military professional as the example?
Yeah. Now this guy, he was involved in the Marines, and he said working with us is like going through SEAL training.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he said, "This is like spiritual warrior stuff." I said, "Yeah, yeah, it is. It's a little on the intense side. Um, there's a lot of modalities he talks about. You got to be really, really vulnerable in life,
Yeah.
and I kind of say that's kind of a bunch of horse hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me, but I'd say you have to be really courageous. Fear is what keep people stuck, and the opposite of fear is not vulnerability. The opposite of fear is being courageous. So you got to get your courage up and get your will up to have what you speak manifest. Like kind of where you can walk into the bathroom and the water and the toilet parts.
Well, you told me that because I had shared with you last year or end of 2023 when we met that I wanted the podcast to be authentic and vulnerable. And you said change your language and change it to courageous. So I did announce to this audience that this is a year of courage, and I like that reframe a lot. And in your comment about it being intense, I could very well see that because even in the 2 times we met before this interview, you kind of held a mirror up to some of my language. I'm being very intentional with my word choices on this interview too,
Uh,
because I know that you might call me out on it, but that's what people really need if they want to grow. And it seems
yep.
like the people that gravitate to this type of like consciousness work have that in common. There's something that they know isn't working.
Find a coach that's going to make you sweat. And doing this work, when you touch a lot of these belief systems and limitations have been stuck in maybe in the person's lineage for eons. And the way that you're speaking has been spoken that same way for, hundreds or thousands of years. Those patterns, those some language patterns have been spoken in your lineage. So the things we're doing here, you're speaking, when you started speaking words in a brand new way with feeling, most likely the first time anyone in your lineage has done so. So
Mm,
that's changing your whole reality and your
mhm.
reality of everyone coming after you as well, and everything around you. It's fascinating how this works.
Well, and I think about like just looking at the family life or the language that we hear in our work environments too. You had talked about one of the biggest blockages is being language, and that every word we speak is a prayer coming into manifestation. That was really beautiful. But I'm thinking about the things I've said in my past roles and even now, and some of the ways that we show up where maybe something bad happens to us and we call 5 coworkers and complain about it, like
Yeah.
that I have stopped doing, but it's taken, intentionality to do that because I felt like I was giving my power away every time I did that and asking other people their opinion when I really just needed to trust myself a little bit more, I think.
Hmm. Yeah. I can tell. Um, I read tones of voices and I read body language and everything. So from the first time we've spoken to now, your language has changed a lot. Also,
Mhm.
the way that your own tone of your voice has changed a lot.
Mhm.
You used to be really high pitched. Now you're deeper and deeper into your body. So you're starting to speak more from here rather than from here.
I feel that shift too. And it's funny, I had a guest earlier this season who talked about voice masks also and some of the masks we put on when we talk to other people. And I'm just trying to be a lot more aware of what I'm putting out there because I think it's helping me slow down a little bit
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
I have a high sense of urgency, but I've also you're the second person recently who told me I talk very fast. And I am just being a little bit more aware of that because I don't know, I guess I don't really know where that was coming from, but I think taking the time to just sit with yourself has been very powerful to me in a short amount of time. So I can understand why your clients are starting to get that type of immediate results in such a short amount of time.
Yep. And what manifests our thoughts, our words, and our feelings. And when
Mm,
somebody's speaking really, really quickly with no feeling in their words, whatever feeling that they have suppressed inside themselves. In other words, a lot of people say, I've taken those experiences and compartmentalized it.
mm.
So "Oh, I keep it in a compartment over here. Well, that's it's still going to affect you. It's like if you have a punch bowl and you have a turd floating around in it, and you're going, I'm going to keep the turd in this little corner over here and drink the rest of the punch. I mean, no, it's still like, no,
Oh,
it's still
okay.
tainting
Okay.
all that, right?
So what can we do if we have a turd in our punch bowl that we've compartmentalized? Like what I mean, what can some of our listeners do? Are there some just kind of general, like just
Yeah.
starting places?
Yes. Part.
This is
It
I'm
was, it
gonna
was
make
fine.
I'm
It
gonna
was fine when I said it. When you said it, it was really funny.
I'm
Here's me
gonna
come
make
back to
a
you.
I've been playing with like the AI Dolly image graphics. So for your blog post, maybe I'll do an AI turd in a punch bowl. We can
Awesome.
talk about it later.
Yep.
So
Yes.
what do we do when we compartmentalize? Because I feel like I do that. I hear that phrase a lot. I think that is really going to be a very tangible example for people listening.
Yeah, when somebody is trying to compartmentalize it, there's no such thing as being able to compartmentalize it because it's still in your own. It's still inside you, and it'll either poison your body. It's going to poison relationships around you. It's going to create a toxic, maybe a glass ceiling in your business. But all those things will only, whatever level of success you have right now, whatever level of love you have in your life, is all your belief system are letting you have at this current moment. So to shift
Mhm.
that, you have to change. You have to change yourself. You have to. I got this thing up here. It says, um, leading organizations successfully today requires leaders to transform themselves personally. New leadership literature suggests a consistent correlation between personal leadership success and their level of self mastery. The greater
Mm.
their self mastery, the greater their success. And that was by Mark Mickelson and John Anderson. So, to, you know, I'll do it this way. I used to be really reactive.
Mhm.
Something would happen, and a lot of times my reaction was not to react, which was still a reaction, and I would just go silent and walk away and fume. Which, leading a company, that sucks. Me and my team
Mhm.
didn't know where the hell I was. I didn't know where the hell I was, right? And so, or I would blow, like hold it in and blow up with it. So now with these tools we have here and how quickly they can change somebody. Instead of doing those types of things, I'm able to have an effective action conversation in the moment. And to me, the faster I can respond to a situation, with effective actions, not something that's going to take, be something I go back and regret, but
Mhm.
something that I respond to effectively. The greater my ability to respond, the greater responsibilities get put upon me.
Mm.
My ability to respond to life, the greater my ability to respond to life situation, the more responsibilities in life I have.
It's almost like you are only I don't want to use the word problems, but you're only given, the problems that you or your business could handle at that level that
At
you're
that
at.
level.
And then the bigger you get, the bigger the problems, but you have the experience to handle
You know,
larger opportunities, larger. I'm quoting issues in air quotes, but
Yeah.
that's very cool.
And every issue goes back to the same. It's always the same solution for the same issue, just at a deeper level.
Mm. Can you
So
give an example?
yeah. So with speaking with you, there are some changes in your language, thoughts, words, and feelings that created a new realm of existence for you, a new level of awareness.
Mhm.
At that new level of awareness, your effectiveness in life is gonna skyrocket. All of a sudden, you're gonna start getting opportunities that the person who was down here who was complaining didn't have those opportunities show up for them, right?
Mhm.
You just said you like wrote something down about going to London or something, and then very quickly the manifestation occurs.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
the person you were last year or when I first met you who were complaining, that opportunity wouldn't show up for that person.
Right. Well, and that's, I think, this week of this recording, I've been opening my email and it's just boom, boom, boom. I have so many great projects in front of me. And one big shift that I've changed is I've always been in a sales role. So the way that I would achieve a lot of my sales goals would be, okay, if my goal is $10 million or whatever the number, I'd chunk it down and then I'd do the actions to get those dollars in the company. And one of the things that I've changed and shifted is instead of breaking it down into dollars, I've been saying, I'm going to help X amount of teams this year. I'm going to change X amount of businesses. I'm going to talk to, X thousands of people. Like I've changed it where I want to come from a place of service. Like I want to help X amount of
Mm.
people. And I think that that shift has been very cool to almost take the dollars out of it. And now I have a lot more inbound stuff. My, Q1 is packed and it's really exciting because I feel like it's just this like positive momentum cycle that I've dropped into. And now I'm like spiraling up and it's such a better feeling than feeling like you're spiraling down.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. A lot of people work on producing a particular result, X amount of dollars, X amount of
Mm-hmm.
cash flow, whatever those things are, the results based. Something we do a little bit different here, we work on outcomes.
Okay.
An outcome is a first person personal experience.
Say that. So
So,
an outcome is a first person personal experience.
yeah. So in other
Okay.
words, it's saying I have X amount of dollars in the bank. I can
Okay.
say, I can say, wow, I love getting emails saying thank you, thank you, thank you for what you've done with our company.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Yeah.
so one is like, money. Yeah, money's cool. But the other one's like, oh God, I love hearing thank you. I really love hearing. Oh my gosh, you not only changed my business life, but oh my gosh, my wife and my kids were actually getting along for the first time. The person who they hit their 3-year goal in a year, or excuse me, in 6 months or whatever it was. They they were getting a divorce. They their kid was making straight F's.
Oh,
They were already looking for they were already looking for somebody else to replace the current partner, and they had like all this outside interest in all this stuff. Started working with them within a short period of time. Instead of their kid not talking to them, the kid was like, "Hey, Dad, you come into my room? Let's talk, Dad. I haven't spoken with you in a long time." Like that was totally out of character for that relationship with his son. They went away on so I started working in September, October. They went away on Thanksgiving. They said thanks holidays was always a really tough time, and they went away on oh they had no they stayed at home, but they had a kerfluffle with the turkey or something that would have normally have taken them out, and they just like laughed their way through it. They said this is the best time I've had with my spouse ever,
wow.
and man, those types of things, golly, I love hearing those things about
Yeah.
what's going on. So, that's what I'm talking about, compartmentalizing things. Like you can go make a bunch of money if you have issues with your family. Maybe all that money you made, half of it's going to go away in a divorce. You know,
Mm-hmm.
plus all the other stuff that goes along with it. I mean, it's like one of the big things I hear from people too is we could just go back to
Mm.
where we met. Forget all that because that even where you met, you have still had a turd in the punch bowl back then. Like let's build a brand new punch bowl that's so much greater in beauty and fun and playfulness than anything you were able to achieve back then because now you can bring consciousness to it
Right.
and maybe have 10 or 100 times greater love you've ever experienced, or or success with your business, or happiness with your employees,
Or health and
health.
doing things you love.
Yeah,
I think that's a big measure of success for me. So if someone's listening to this and they're thinking, okay, how do I start to build a new punch bowl? Can we talk a little bit about the science behind it and just, I guess, like the power of the
feelings,
consciousness brain? Okay. Okay.
feelings.
Okay.
Yep. And this, by the way, I majored in engineering.
Okay.
So all this is like, well, years ago, I would have thought you were nuts. So somebody talked to me like this.
Well, we have a lot of engineering listeners, so this is perfect.
That's awesome. So, yeah, and that's when I would take consciousness work. I would notice there's some things that felt weird, and everything that felt weird, I go, well, if this feels weird to me, there's something that requires for me to. I'm feeling this for a reason
Mm,
that I can make an improvement here. So I took apart all these different things that I was attending, and I said, okay, this feels weird. There's got to be an upgrade here. So I created all these systems here, and everything we do here is a system of this QLT system, quantum leap technique. It's a system. So most things talk about you got to think positive thoughts, don't think negative thoughts. What we do here is we have a way that we change body chemistry first.
okay.
So, and when I'm talking about body chemistry, I'm talking about feelings first.
Okay.
And if you're in a state of anger or resentment, there's not much creativity going on,
Right.
right? So and you spoke about having excitement in your life.
Mhm.
Excitement's cool, but excitement is based on EX, which is exterior based.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
So when I was get things about excitement, I'm like, oh, when I get this speaking gig or I get this
Mhm.
contract, oh my gosh, my life's going to take a whole nother turn. It's like the donkey with the carrot in front of itself,
Yeah.
and it's always chasing,
Yeah.
chasing, chasing, chasing. So what we do here, there's a feeling inside of us that we can find called enthusiasm, and
Okay.
EN is interiorly based.
Oh, cool. I never knew that. Excitement is exterior and I forgot the word already.
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Thank you. I was gonna say engaging. I was like, that's not right. But
Yeah,
that would
and
probably be another EN word.
yep. And enthusiasm comes from the Greek word entheos, meaning with God. But a lot of people have a lot of misnomers about using the word God. So we
Mm,
also use in scriptures, God is love, life, light, and truth. So, so in other words, enthusiasm is based in truth. Enthusiasm is based in life, capital L life. Enthusiasm is based in capital L love. So, like when you're somebody really, really, really loves what's going on with their life, all of a sudden their creativity goes up,
mhm.
their intuition goes up. All those things start to occur very naturally. But most people don't have a clue of what it is or how to get to it.
Okay. You know,
So
it's
what we do here, we have a really simple process that can take just a few minutes to be demonstrated, and then like a lifetime to master kind of a deal. But you can get it really quickly, and then it's just going to be how long can you stay in it,
mm,
and if something happens, how quickly can you recover to get back in it. That's where the
okay.
magic occurs. If you have a kerfluffle, er, I get sometimes I get on it, and my girlfriend partner, all she does is just laugh at me if I do that. And one of my core decrees is I love laughing with my partner. So if she laughs at me, I can go, Tur's laughing at me. Oh my gosh. Or go, you know what? I really love laughing with her. And I just start laughing and it's all over.
You just
And you
switch
can
your feeling right like that.
switch like that.
Cool.
And we can instill this in corporations.
Mhm.
So instead of having people get into that, rah, 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 rah,
Mhm.
they can have fun with it and immediately bring playfulness back in, creativity and intuition back, and have a whole team of problem solvers rather than problem creators.
That's cool. A whole
Yeah,
team of
really,
problem
really
solvers.
fast.
Yeah. Well, and I like the idea of just shifting your mindset so quick. This is a silly example, but I was at a point in my business where I was very lean and I was in New York City and I was with a business partner. She wanted to take a rickshaw or one of those bike cabs. And so we were going to this dinner and I was asking, how much is it? How much is it? Before we got on, because this wasn't my first rodeo, but she was already in and excited. So I was like, okay, so I hop in it. We did a 16-minute ride through Times Square. We're blasting music. We're having such a good time. And he drops me off and he pulls out his calculator and it was $150 ride for 16. It ended up being $9 a minute. And I could not stop laughing. I was like, all right, here's my money. Like, it was just one of those things where it was so comical that the only thing was to do was to laugh instead of being like, wow, I could have used that $200 for something else, but I guess I'm paying this guy for a
Yeah.
15-minute bike ride, but I had a lot of fun during the 15 minutes and it's a fun
Awesome.
story. So it's like, it's just a little tiny thing where you could choose to be pissed or argue with the guy, but instead it's like, no, this is funny. You had a sign. I didn't read it. It's all good. Like, move on to the next. And
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen some videos and it talks about it's not thinking positive.
Mhm.
They said they did an analysis and they said people who think positive are great, but they said, what do you think makes the most difference? Thinking positive or the amount of duration you spend in thinking negatively?
Ooh, that's a good reframe.
That's a good reframe. And they said that they've had proof that if somebody's spending a lot of time thinking negatively, it will negate the positivity.
Mm.
So it's and I saw who's that on Shark Tank, Barbara, the short blonde haired
Mhm.
girl.
Mhm.
She started a real estate company like with $1,000 investment, and now it's worth like $1.5 billion or something. And she was doing something. She was talking about the success of her people, and they were saying, "What makes your company so successful?" And she goes, "Well, we don't have the best client list." She goes, "We don't even have the best agents. We don't have any of that." She goes, "But everyone in our company has one trait." I was like, oh boy, let's hear this one.
Drum
Let's hear
roll.
that. She goes, in real estate, you make deals, you lose deals. She goes, everyone in our company, if they lose a deal, they get immediately back in the game.
Mm.
So what we do here, instead of getting taken out by hours or days or weeks, I mean, I've been taken out for years with stuff.
Mhm.
And instead of getting taken out, it's an immediate back in the game, immediate back in the game, immediate back in the game. And she goes, that's what has us be successful. And
That's
the
so
same thing
cool.
with business owners.
Yeah.
And whether with your business is a relationship. So if you're doing it in your business, you're most likely doing it in your home life as well.
Mhm.
So all this stuff correlates everywhere.
Well, and I liked what you said about leadership and the quote about the greater the leader's self-mastery, the greater their success. And I think Barbara, that's such a great example. And I think that all of that applies very well to sales or any type of business development opportunity too. Like, I was before this interview, I was thinking back about my sales techniques and what I teach in my workshops, and it's a balance of hard and soft skills, but a lot of the soft skills are like active listening, empathy, compassion, relationship building. And I think a lot of my success has been the energy and enthusiasm that I have for my product or service or for this client's business model. Like,
Yep.
that energy, I think, is what has gotten me to top decision makers, to really high profile accomplished business professionals. And I'm able to do that even as, Sara Murray from Utah. It's like, that doesn't matter because we're meeting on the same energetic level. And I didn't really think about it that way until prepping for this interview. So I want to thank you for that, because that was a really, I think, cool download that I got to experience before this interview.
Cool. Can I make a couple of comments on language?
Please. Yeah. See, I knew
Okay.
this was coming, Mark, but I'm
All right.
ready for it.
Say I didn't think about it, but
I
uh,
didn't think about it.
say this. I'll say, wow.
Wow.
This is the first time I've thought of it this way.
This is the first time I've thought of it this way.
Now say active listening.
Active listening,
I'll say really hearing.
really hearing.
Which one?
Really hearing. Yeah. And
Yeah.
wow, this is the first time I've thought about it this way. How
Uh,
enthusiastic am I for it? I was
yeah.
about to say exciting, but I didn't.
Mm. This feels a totally different chemical content in the body. And
Mhm.
so we're talking about self mastery. Self mastery is being able to be aware of and monitor and create your own body chemistry at will.
Mm. Self mastery is the ability to be aware of and create your own body chemistry at will. Is that kind of like your example of have you had a kerfluffle and your girlfriend laughed, and so you chose to laugh? Like you
Yeah,
changed your
and
body language?
yeah, because my decrees, and it's happens naturally now because I love laughing with my girlfriend. I mean, I love
Mm-hmm.
laughing. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's like, I love laughing together. I love, laughing pillow talk. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's so fun, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So um, that's already inside me now. It used to be like I don't like when she does this. I don't like when she does that. All those things. Now it's like, oh, I love doing this. This is what I love. And I just started changing. Instead of saying what I didn't like, I started changing. Here's what I really love. Here's what I love in my business. Here's what I love about
Mm-hmm.
my clients. Here's what I love hearing from my clients.
I
And that will
have,
change everything in your life.
yeah, I have been shifting that when it comes to difficult conversations or big pitches, or in past roles, having a big boss shadow a call or having to have an uncomfortable conversation. And I have started to embrace it as an opportunity to learn, like, oh, I'm excited to learn how to handle this type of situation. And I think even that shift made it easier to get back up for Barbara, and also easier to come from a place of courage and not fear, just like you mentioned at the top of the interview. But it takes some intentionality. Do you find people are a little resistant when they start to look
Yeah,
at themselves?
yeah, they do. The truth will generally piss people off.
Yeah, I could see that.
So they're, and what limits somebody the most in life is what they hate the most about themselves,
Mm,
and also what they defend the most. So I'm used to doing that, and I'll stay with anyone. I have clients, and generally through the process of being a coach with them, there's times when they really don't like me, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. And it's, if they got something to say to me, get it out, and don't let it sit there and poison you. Get the stuff out.
mm.
And one more thing about language too. So say I learn.
I learn.
I'll say I remember.
I remember.
Say I
I
love
love
remembering
remembering
my success.
my success. Ooh, that's cool.
I know. Instead of learning how to be successful, I
Yeah.
remember my successful life.
I remember my success for life. Yeah.
Feel
That
feel like
well, yeah, it was so cool
little
because
tingles.
well, I was
Yeah.
journaling this morning, as I try to journal every morning, because it just sets my whole day up to be a more positive day. I just enjoy it. It's a great tool for me personally. But I was writing my journal this morning, and I have a really big event coming up as in a month or two, and they told me that they trusted me implicitly. They're like, "You can do whatever, we trust you." And I was writing in my journal, and I was writing back almost like the evidence of other situations that reminded me of this one. And it was really powerful to look back, and I think about, instead of learning, I'm remembering that I'm capable of that success because I've already done it before.
Yeah. And when we do this stuff, you're going to remember your future.
Mm.
That's this quantum leap technique we're doing. Rather than trying to figure out how you're going to get there and how we're going to do all these things, instead of trying to figure out how, there's a
Mhm.
way to remember what you did to get it.
Mm. Oh,
Way different.
can you dive into an example of that?
Um, so, I don't know how to do this with you. How much time we got? We got time.
Yeah.
So, give yourself, like, the way I generally work with people, sit, lean back in your chair, put your feet up on your desk, and just go, "Oh my gosh, guess what? I finally made it."
Guess what? I finally made it.
Just go, ah.
Ah.
Like have your body go into a state of ease.
Ah.
Starting to.
Yeah.
And even doing this with people, getting them to a state, like most people try to meditate to get here.
Mhm.
What we're doing it here is like where your day becomes like a walking meditation.
I like that.
Yeah. And so you just stay in that feeling of, oh yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
You feel most people, when people start to do this, they start to cry because they're going into a new state of ease.
We had a pre-call, so I cried on the pre-call, audience. To
Yeah.
get it out of our system. But it is crazy to just feel how instantly just relaxing your body can change just how I'm sitting here. I feel so
Change
much
everything.
yeah.
All,
Easeful life.
ease for life. Say it again.
Ease for life.
Say it again.
Ease for life.
I'm beginning to experience
I'm beginning to experience
ease for life.
ease for life.
Say it's okay
It's okay
for me to have my easy life.
for me to have my easy life.
I'm gonna, for your audience,
Yeah.
notice every time she said the word easy, she closed her eyes every time she
Ah,
said the word easy. That
this-
means that means she's like, I don't want to quite see this yet. She's like, she's
okay.
holding on. It's holding on. It's a struggle. So all I do is I read the body language and whether the person's in alignment with it, thoughts, words, all the body's in alignment with what you're saying. And when we can get everything aligned, there becomes a new chemical process produced in the body, and a new set of thoughts, a new set of all of a sudden a new reality opens up.
Mm,
Then once the new reality opens up, you'll be able to ask, what did I do to get here? What's the first thing I did? And you'll get an answer that quick. You'll remember it instead
is
of
that
trying to figure out how.
oh, okay. That example makes sense to me then. If I'm in the future remembering what I did to get
Yeah,
there.
yeah. And
Awesome.
This is quantum physics.
Can we talk about I think I hear the term quantum leap quite a bit, and I have a rough understanding of what it means, but could you give us your
That
definition?
so what we're doing. There's a spirit. We're taking people into a future state, even like if somebody has a condition, physical condition in their body. We're taking them into their body, the feeling of their body already healed,
Okay.
helping them helping
Yeah.
them remember their already healed body. Once they can remember it, the body will follow suit.
Mm.
Once they can remember having having a loving relationship with their wife, all of a sudden they'll go into remembrance of it. Once they can remember having a 10x growth in their company, their body will go into alignment with it. Now, when somebody touches a new level, like 10x growth in their company,
Mhm.
what's going to happen is everything that's out of alignment with that 10x growth is going to show up in that person's life very quickly. So the
Okay.
counterfeit is going to show up not to punish the person, but to go, hey, this is what's required for you to change in order to have your new company. So one of the
Mm.
big things, one of the most important questions I can have somebody ask, or I can ask somebody and have them answer is, if Fluffle shows up and you're at 10x, how do you handle Fluffle? The things that would normally take you out at the 1x you're at now, the things that would normally get your attention.
Mm.
At 10x, how do you handle those things? What did you do if these show up? Oh, it's like a mosquito. I just flick, like a mosquito, bink, bink.
Mhm.
Oh, I laugh at it. I just have fun with it. Like, and all of a sudden they begin to see a new way of handling these kerfluffles. That's where this new reality really comes into existence. Is how do you handle your issues?
Oh, that is cool. I've been asking myself, what would a multi-million dollar business owner do?
Mhm.
And making my decisions that way. Is that a little bit similar?
Similar.
Okay. But what is my language changed? I
Now
need
that I'm already a multi-million dollar,
Oh, oh, now
what
that
did
I'm
I
on
do to
okay.
what
Oh,
did I do to handle these things?
cool. Okay, awesome. So if you're listening to this audience and you're thinking about your goals or your sales targets or whatever you're aiming to get to, it's remembering what you did. So your body alignment, chemistry.
Give yourself already having it, and then
Okay.
remember what you did to get it.
Now that I'm a multi-million dollar business owner, I remember what I did to get it.
Mhm.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
what's what skill did you really accentuate to get it?
Mm. Are you asking
What did
me or am I just thinking about it?
just feel it. What skill did you
Okay.
really?
Okay.
What's different between you at the multi-million dollar business and where you are now? What's different inside you?
The first word that came to my mind was ease. Like
I hear you.
let it be easy.
Try playful.
Playful, fun, joy, happy, love, all those feelings.
So say I really
I really
got playful.
got playful. Yeah, I like that. Because it is, I mean, I like to have fun in my life and meet all the people. And that's what
Yep.
I really feel like if I can tap into that alignment, obviously I want to help others. Like that brings me a lot of joy, just like what you were saying, feedback from
Yep.
your clients. But it's just kind of that momentum cycle that we have to drop ourselves into.
So let's play with your language again. Say
Okay. Okay.
helping other people brings me joy.
Helping other people brings me joy.
Now say I really love
I really love
helping other people.
helping other people.
If something can bring you joy, then something can take your joy away.
Oh.
See, like
S
little nuances in language
Yeah.
make a huge difference.
What can people do if they start to catch themselves? Are there just kinda some good, like,
It's
best
yes.
practices?
So what we do here, we're training, helping people become aware of their feelings and
Mm,
aware of their body, so they remember self mastery. Every word a person speaks is either going to thud them or lift them. This process of growth and expansion is going to be the continual lifting.
and you
The
will
process of gaining greater and greater wealth is going to be a continual lifting. So you'll be able to become aware of what your feelings they are associated with every word you speak. And then, sometimes I'm speaking, I go, oh, let me say that a different way. So I'm catching myself and self coaching myself.
Mhm. And
So
yeah.
you basically become your own coach. That's your own coach that you're working on day to day in your life, continuously making this expansion, not based on right or wrong, good or bad, but based on, oh, this produces this feeling produces this result. This produces this feeling,
Mm,
feeling produces this result.
you
So
know yeah.
you begin to see what um, the the timeline of being in anger produces a particular timeline, right,
Mhm.
lifeline, and being in enthusiasm produces a particular lifeline. So you get to start to see the difference between those two things, and then make a choice, a conscious choice. If you can't see the two timelines or multiple timelines, you're in a decision, not a choice. You got to
Mm,
be in choice.
mm. Well, I think that that's so powerful to use feelings as almost like just the guiding light of where you're making your choices. And I just circling back to my wanting to, or my year of intuition and my continuous lifting of intuition as being a guide, I have been tapping into my feelings and thinking, this consultant is not in alignment with me right now. Like if I have a feeling that I don't like, I've been starting to listen to it a lot more and almost I think operating more from my heart than my brain in some ways. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but I like the feelings as the guide because if something doesn't feel right, it means something, it needs attention.
Something off. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, how can people work with you, learn more about this, dive deeper? Because we just, I mean, barely scratched
Barely
the
scratch
beginning
that.
of the iceberg. Yeah.
Yeah. So easiest way to reach me is Mark at encompasslife.com. And if you could put
Okay.
in Sara Murray in the subject line,
Perfect.
then I'm coming. They're coming from you. Um, our website is encompasslife.com. We are going through a rebuild of our website now, so um, but you can look us up there as well. It's interesting. When I started doing all this work, I didn't have a website or anything, and I got clients all over the world just from word of mouth.
Cool.
And yeah, so I just put up a website maybe I choose, 6 or 7 years ago when I started a university to train people in this modality of coaching. So the last 4 years have been developing staff, training staff who can train other people, so we can really grow this thing. Because once people get a taste of what we do here, we have a high success ratio of people who come in and do a whole year's worth of programming or reprogramming, I guess you could say. And so we train people to become coaches, or also it's a high level leadership development class. So we have
Okay.
people who come in who really, really desire to take their leadership to a whole nother level. It's like Navy SEAL trainings for leaders.
Cool. Well, and then it really self-mastery is what contributes to success. And if you
Yep.
can be a leader that everyone could follow like that, I would call enlightened leadership. And that's the type of work environment I want to work in. And I'm sure a lot of people on this listening to this would feel the same way.
Yep.
Well, I will
So
link all of your stuff in the show notes too, Mark.
one more thing too.
Please. Yeah.
And so we do really, really deep work, and we use humor as a vehicle to do it. So quickly as we can, we get people to start laughing at their own stuff. To create most modalities take 400 to 600 pattern repetitions to create a new pattern.
Ooh.
If you use humor, it only takes 10 to 20.
Okay. So
Personally, go ahead.
I said instead of learning about compartmentalizing 600 times, we could just talk about the turd in your punch bowl and get you down to 10 or 20
Yep.
times. That's
Yep.
cool.
Exactly. You make it fun, make it engaging, and then all this stuff happens really, really, really quickly. So we're doing things way faster than other modalities are doing them now.
Cool. So you do a lot of in-person events too. So I'll link all of your details in the show notes too. So everyone has just quick access to get to you and your website. Your website's
Yep.
beautiful. And I think it really speaks to what people are going through. So I think it's a
Awesome.
beautiful site.
Well, thank you, Sarah.
Yeah,
It's
you're
great to
welcome.
see you. And your
Yeah.
smile you got a great smile.
Thank you, Mark.
You're
I
welcome.
I enjoy life. I love my wonderful life that I have, and I want everyone to be able to experience this. And we all kind of consistently can quantum leap in different ways, but I appreciate you giving us just kind of a roadmap to start. That was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Enjoyed
Thank
our
you.
conversation, and I am taking your basics course. It hasn't started yet, but I will report back to the audience on some of the outcomes from the workshop and the classes.
Awesome.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thanks
Perfect.
for
Well,
having me on.
thanks for joining.